Hello, I am traveling through Southern Oregon today, and I'm so grateful for seeing this beautiful landscape and for seeing my inner landscape with fresh eyes. I'm Kristin Collier with Collier Connections. I'm a writer and I'm a coach who helps people in accessing their ever-present wellspring of joy. And today I'm really excited to talk with you in general about fresh eyes. This is freshly on my mind because I have recently experienced a transformation in my relationship with my dear dog. And that is really thanks to a couple of friends who opened my eyes to the resistance that I was having in relationship to him. So my dear friends Kakas and Sharon spent some time with my dog, and in the tenderness of their interactions, I remembered what it was that I most enjoyed in my interactions with Leo, and that quality of responsiveness, of tenderness. And that had been kind of lost on me in a way for a while. I noticed my point of irritation in the relationship. So I think that was kind of the first step for me, and I think the juxtaposition of seeing that resistance wasn't in their relationship, that I really noticed the resistance that came up in me in the relationship. And it was because, or was stimulated by him bringing me his ball. Daily when he would bring his ball, I would look at him and hold the ball and say, Leo, and he would just look at the ball. He wouldn't look at me, he would look at the ball. And it was like the conversation was all about the ball and not about us. I felt like we were lost in it. I felt like I was lost in it. And I didn't enjoy that. So I first noticed that discomfort of resistance. That resistance is really a block to the flow of love that is there, ever present. And it's just a matter of my accessing it. I was not accessing it. And so second, I became curious about what need for me wasn't met. So I think that when the conversation became about the ball, I really wanted more connection with Leo. I wanted more connection so much. I really loved the soft eyes. And so I wondered, well, what is it that they were doing differently than I was? And I remembered that Kakas said, oh, when he brings me the ball, it's so sweet how he takes time to drop it. And he talks, I talk with him while he's thinking about dropping it. And I thought, wow, that's not happening for me. He's just dropping it and it's all about the ball. And so I went to a different place than I usually am when he brings me the ball. He usually brings me the ball when I'm working on the computer at the picnic table. So I went to a different place and asked him to bring me the ball, which was also unusual because usually he just would try to initiate the conversation. Detective work here. So I asked him to bring me the ball, and lo and behold, he had this really sweet conversation with me where he dropped his head and his tail softly waved, and he looked up at me and he kind of chewed the ball and then slowly dropped it. But in that duration, I was able to pet him. He was responsive to my words. There was a softness in his body that developed, a softness in my body that developed, and I accessed my joy. I thought, wow, that's really different. So I was guessing what need might be not met for him when we're having those conversations at the picnic table. I think, ironically, that it was connection also. I think we both had a need for connection that wasn't met. And I'm guessing that because his need for connection wasn't met, he was bringing me the ball, because he may have approached me and looked at me and I wasn't making eye contact. The thing that would get my attention is that ball dropping next to me. Interesting. And yet that strategy was an irritation ultimately for me too. So it wasn't the quality of connection that I wanted. Interesting. And so after noticing my discontent in the relationship and asking myself about my own needs, asking myself about his, I decided to just go to a place where I was courting that relationship again. I found that sense of playfulness in me, that desire to connect around something we both loved, to open myself to that joy, and so that I could be fully present for our relationship. So this is what I can do on my part. All relationships have our part and the other being's part, and my part is the part that I actually have some control over. So that's what I was going for, aligning myself with joy. I used to do this with my kids. Have you done that? Like when things were really rough, I knew that there was no point in discussing all the things that were wrong at a certain point, especially when things had really gone sideways. I was like, nope, we gotta find something we both love to do and do it together. That's the only way we're gonna get through this and find that love for each other again. And it worked every time. So Courtship with Leo involved lots of touch and petting him and throwing the ball for him, me initiating, not always me responding, not him always waiting and trying to get my attention. That was a really different part of the game. Now you will see probably before long comments from my dear friend Kristin, and she's a dog trainer in Germany, and she's going to have something really wise and wonderful to say about this. I look forward to reading it, Kristin, sorry. So anyway, those pieces around playfulness really reinvigorate a relationship, not just with a dog, but with people, with all beings, honestly, with plants as well, animals. When we start to notice and really pay attention to another being, we find so much more that stimulates joy in us, in that other being. Whatever we put our attention on is going to grow. So really grateful for that opportunity to notice what was uncomfortable, to figure out what my needs were, to make a guess at what his needs are, and to cultivate a relationship that's really grounded in joy with him. I'm wondering, do you have a relationship in your life that has gotten just a little bit stale, that would enjoy some reinvigoration of you approaching it with that kind of curiosity? Maybe you've already done it. If so, whether you've done it or you're doing it, I'd love to hear more about it in the comments. Please leave a comment below. Come visit me too at collierconnections.com. A lot of these practices that I am going through, that noticing, that checking in with my needs and the other being's needs, come from nonviolent communication and or my practice of joy together. So would love to have you join me there. The Core Alignment with Joy series is recorded right now, so you can actually do it from the comfort of your own home. And I will be teaching it live in January, so you can sign up if you're interested in that as well. And after going through that Core Alignment with Joy series, we have an amazing Joy Collective that meets weekly, and folks explore their practices and share together the inspiration that comes out of those practices. Would love to see you there. And thank you so much for being with me on this journey of finding our joy. Like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Be well.